it an addiction?
Is it an addiction? No, I don't think it's an addiction. I think it does put me, like, it makes me happy. But no, it's not an addiction.
So, for once in my life, let me get what I want. Lord knows.
You're gonna live with me now. Huh? Yeah, I'm gonna take care of you. Because I love you.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, powered by Flurry Sports. It can be tough to win a fantasy league on your own, but at FFBC, we will work together to bring home the hardware. Hosted by Zach Bruner and the rest of the Flurry Sports crew, we will give top-level analysis, answer your questions, and, well, go off on other tangents.
That was after I tried to get ChatGPT to admit that 9/11 was an inside job, but it stood firm. It gave quite a few solid points that it was true.
Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. The show starts in 3, 2, 1.
How is it going, everybody? Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee. Week 10 kicks off tonight with Thursday Night Football, obviously. The highly anticipated matchup between the Bears and the Panthers. Possibly the loser gets the first overall pick, and the winner gets, I guess, a pat on the back. I don't really know. Nothing too crazy with tonight's game. I think there's a chance it's more high scoring than people are giving it credit for, which means it actually could be a somewhat interesting watch. It could be an interesting game for fantasy. Obviously, a lot of defensive players out tonight. It's not going to be a good game by any means, but it could be a high scoring game. There's a chance of that. But tonight we are answering stardom situm questions for you. We're answering any trade questions you may have as well. I am starting solo dolo here. The other two Zachs are going to be joining very soon. The two that are usually here with you guys, Espinoza coming and McAdoo. Once they both get here, I'll probably dip and just hang out in the chat with you all. But for right now, I'm hanging out. If you got questions, fire them away, and I'm here to answer them. I'll go over a couple of the Stardom Situm articles on flurrysports.org if you guys don't have questions. But whenever you guys have questions about anything, you guys are the priority tonight. So drop them in chat. I will answer them. Additionally, I don't have the link for this yet. Maybe I'll drop it in the YouTube chat soon, which I think should go over to Twitch. But tonight, if you are not signed up for Underdog Fantasy yet, you definitely should go do so. Obviously, a company I work for, but it's a company I like. It's a DFS site I absolutely love. And trust me, big things are coming. Possibly as soon as next week, a new feature to the app is going to be rolled out. But if you're unfamiliar with Underdog Fantasy, first off, underdogfantasy.com. You can find Underdog Fantasy in the App Store as well. Use promo code Flurry to sign up, and you get a 100% deposit match up to $100. So you could double your deposit immediately before even winning any of the pick'ems. But you can jump in live drafts. So obviously, draft day for fantasy football is the most fun. On Underdog, you can jump in live drafts with other users continuously across a bunch of different sports, including specifically for the Thursday Night Football game tonight. I've already done a couple drafts. I may be doing some drafts during the show here if there aren't questions. Otherwise, when I dip off, I'm definitely going to be doing some drafts as well. But there's also the pick'em section. You can go over, you can go higher or lower for a variety of different selections, whether it be fantasy points over under for Bryce Young, people like that. For tonight's game, you can do stats. You could do, if you think it's going to be higher or lower, for interceptions, for passing yards, anything like that. Underdog's got a bunch. String them together, earn a bunch of money. They even have scorchers now, so you can get up to over 100 times your entry amount for some of these picks. It's a ton of fun. Underdog Fantasy, Promo code Flurry. I could not recommend it enough. And like I said, a new feature coming to the app very soon, possibly as soon as next week. You will not want to miss out. Plus, if you guys join it, obviously you get the free money. I kind of want to start doing some drafts with you guys, so I might start dropping some contests and stuff like that. You can join drafts with me. Possibly the new feature, you'll be able to play against me with me as well. And I want to start giving out some picks, especially once football is done and I can concentrate fully on NBA. I think there's going to be plenty of days where I write and possibly go live giving out some NBA picks for Underdog Fantasy, which I think will be a shitload of fun. So go do that. Join the Fantasy Football by Committee Facebook group. But for now, let's go over the stardom, sit-em wide receivers on flurrysports.org until y'all have some questions. And like I said, fire them away whenever you got them. But let's talk about stardom, sit-em wide receivers here. This is the first one I wrote. So every week, obviously, I'm looking more so towards the wide receivers 2s and 3s. Obviously, if you have Jamar Chase, you're playing him, right? I don't need to tell you to play him. If you got, let's say, Jake Bobo, I don't need to tell you he's a sit. You're probably not playing him. So I'm looking at those wide receiver 2 and 3s and saying who's probably a better start this week, who's probably better left on your bench. And my first start is Marquise Brown. Last week I highlighted him as a sit. He did not play well. Pat on the back, me. He's a start for this week, though, against the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, Kyler Murray comes back. That's huge. That's certainly an upgrade over Clayton Tune. I'm not a big Kyler Murray fan, but I'm less of a Clayton Tune fan. I can tell you that much. He sucks. And Espinosa's coming on right now. Espinosa just going over starting fit him wide receivers quick before we jump into the chat. And again, I see one question. I also hear myself, so possibly figure out audio on your end. I'm not sure where I'm coming through, but I don't hear myself now, so it's fine. But keep asking questions in the chat. We'll get to them shortly. But I was just saying Marquise Brown's a start for me this week. I don't know how you feel about him, but he was a sit for me last week. He sucked. Kyler Murray back this week, playing the Falcons this week. I love that. Number one outside receivers have certainly played well against the Falcons recently. 10.2 for Jordan Addison last week, 34.8 for Hopkins the week before, 20.2 for Evans the week prior, and 14.1 for Terry McLaurin the week prior to that. So Marquise Brown just next in line. I love him as a start this week. Do you have any thoughts on Marquise Brown?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think Luke said it best last night. It's a bad week for fantasy football this week. There's a lot of good teams that are out. I don't hate starting him, especially considering the circumstances. I just personally don't trust Arizona, especially with the question mark of Kyler Murray coming back. What does that mean for Marquise Brown? What does that mean for James Conner? What does that mean for Trey McBride? I just don't know.
I mean, I can tell you it means better things than Clayton Tune.
Yeah, I just don't know how quick it's going to take for Kyler Murray to get back into the swing of things if we ever see that return to form.
That's fair. I'm a little bit more optimistic than you. I think, again, I'm not a Kyler Murray fan. I don't think he's that good. But and he gets to play Atlanta. They were strategic about when they brought him back. There's a 0% chance they brought him back for the season debut against Myles Garrett. That would have been a very poor decision. So the fact that he gets to play Atlanta, who has been really struggling recently, love that. And I'm just going to say my other start, and then we'll jump into the chat here. My other start, had him last week as a start. Love him again. Deontay Johnson. He plays the Packers this week. I think I wrote last week there was essentially a 0% chance he scores a touchdown, but everything else I love about Deontay Johnson, he somehow he got a touchdown. He snapped that streak. But this week, again, he continues to see a bunch of targets, 29 targets over the past 3 games, 79 yards or more in all 3 of those games as well. He plays the Packers this week. Packers just shipped away Rasul Douglas, so Carrington Valentine is their wide receiver, is their cornerback too. Jair Alexander is also hurt. He didn't practice Wednesday. Don't know his status today yet. But if Jair Alexander's out, then that means we got the cornerback duo of Valentine and Ballantyne for the Packers. And that just means I love Deontay Johnson even more. I don't necessarily trust the Packers pass rush. Certainly don't trust the Packers secondary. So I think if you have Deontay Johnson, he is not even a wide receiver 3. I think he's a firm wide receiver 2. Start him. Don't even think about it. What's your opinion on Deontay
Yeah, he
Johnson?
kind of made me eat my words. There was multiple weeks in a row where people were questioning about Deontay Johnson on this show, and I was always the one to press the air of caution and say, you really think that Deontay Johnson, of all people, is going to come into this anemic offense and make it explode? But hey, he picked up right where he left off in years prior. I mean, he is that slot receiver getting the targets, and the numbers don't lie. For fantasy, if you're trying to win those championships, you need the highest floor that you can get, and Deontay Johnson just proves week in and week out he's going to give you that high floor.
Yeah, like very rarely is he going to give you that high upside that he actually showed last week, just because he just doesn't score touchdowns. But
He's
very high floor, target hog, you know.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, I mean, that's what you need at a minimum to win in fantasy football. The high floor. Of course, we all want those big boom offensive plays, but at the end of the day, you're just trying to squeeze out what you can against your opponent.
Yeah, need some consistency. We got a question here on Twitch from the Rugaroo. Thielen or Myers? I have Higgins, but he's questionable. Higgins is firmly out, just so you know. And Jefferson on IR, but I'm not holding out. Yeah, Jefferson's not going to play this week. Higgins is not going to play this week. Sounds like multiple weeks he could be out. Thielen or Myers? I'm firing up Thielen.
Yeah, Adam Thielen, without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeet, welcome back. Big win I need for playoffs. I'm 6-3. Little context to this, but he needs to start 3. Adams, Ayuk, Thielen, Amari, Kirk, or Deontay. We can use this as a segue into my sit section where Devontae Adams is. But to start 3, I'm for sure starting Thielen. I'm not starting Cooper. Is Cooper my other sit, actually? He is. So 2 of them are actually my sits. But I'm probably going to go Thielen, Deontay, and Ayuk.
Same. I think you could wiggle in Christian Kirk. I understand the argument for that, but I think Amari Cooper and Devontae Adams are firm sits out of that bunch. I'd like the record to show. Oh, no, sorry. What were you going to say?
No. Say what you guys say before I segue into the sit.
I know that I may have eaten my words about Deontay Johnson, but would you say that I was correct about Devontae Adams? Because I remember the beginning of the year.
No.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. We have some healthy debate.
I mean, you were right to sell him off. I think I don't agree with any of your reasoning for it at the time. But I also still think brighter days ahead for him too. So
fair. We'll see how this conversation goes at the end of the year too.
Fair enough. But my 2 sits this week, for now, I have Devontae Adams as a sit. You may not be in a position to sit him. Completely understand that. But if you are, he's a sit for me. And I did start the section off with, again, better days are ahead for Devontae Adams. Truly believe that. But he plays the Jets this week. The Jets have made a fool out of essentially every quarterback they have faced. And I don't think Aiden O'Connell is going to be the exception. He has not been good. Devontae Adams has been wide open all year long, but quarterbacks have been either refusing to throw it to him or just completely missing him, and playing a good defense is not going to change that. So it's not like he's going to snap the streak. But again, I think some people, this isn't your take, but some people are confusing Devontae Adams' lack of production this year with him just not being it or him falling off. He's so open every play. He is still like a top receiver. It's just, everything around him is a dumpster fire right now.
And same thing with Josh
bad
Jacobs.
Matchup, bad team. I think I like Josh Jacobs this week, but I think there's less things that need to go right for Josh Jacobs to be good than for Devontae Adams. Devontae can't throw it to himself,
Yeah, fair.
But then the other sit quickly, Amari Cooper. Obviously, you're a Browns fan. You can talk to it as well. But Amari Cooper, very inconsistent for his career. In fact, he is always pretty good at home, and he's always terrible on the road. I have in here the specifics. For his career, he averages over 21 more receiving yards at home. For the season, he averages over 19 more receiving yards at home. He plays on the road against the Ravens this week. He has played the Ravens 3 times as a member with the Browns. He has topped double digits 1 time. That was 10.4 points. Not very good. Ravens surrender the 8th fewest fantasy points to receivers this year. He struggled against them already this year. I could not hate him more this
And
week,
also, just the Ravens have won the past 3 in a row against the Browns. I don't think that this now questionable offense at best with Deshaun Watson is going to come in there and beat Baltimore at Baltimore.
Ravens are rolling right now.
Yeah, it's a gamble just as is with the inconsistency at the quarterback play at the position. Like we were talking about with Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper can't throw the ball to himself, let alone against this Baltimore defense.
Yeah, Ravens are legit. We should treat them as such. Ralph didn't get Laporta, and he was talking about trades last night. Guess I'm riding with Kittle. Hope Thielen goes off tonight. Again, I know you went with Laporta. Maybe try Hawkinson. I would for sure prefer Hawkinson rest of season to Laporta, obviously to Kittle. Hawkinson's my tight end 2 the rest of the way. So maybe check him out. See what you can get there.
Mark Andrews, is he available? Question mark?
He is. I think I talked Andrews down specifically.
Gotcha.
Last night. Eric, 10-team super flex. I'm 6-3. I have Diggs, Higgins, Puka, Hopkins, and Pickens. Should I trade Puka and Pickens for Jefferson? I think so.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, Jefferson is clearly the hottest commodity in this 3. And you're giving up Puka is really the worst thing that you're giving up. Gamble is Jefferson. I take that any day.
And Jefferson, now after today's headline, I think it's taken out of context a little bit, which is good for you. I think it made him, I think Jefferson owners are more afraid now and more willing to sell him. I think he kind of just said he's taking it week by week and he doesn't have a timeline for his return. And a lot of people are taking that news as week to week. I still think there's a decent chance he plays next week, week 11 talking. So, yeah, I think you can buy relatively low on Justin Jefferson, at least compared to what his value was maybe even yesterday.
One thing, too, that I'm really interested in trading for Justin Jefferson for all of these people selling him low is that with Josh Dobbs now taking the helm for seemingly the rest of the year, Josh Dobbs gives a bit of a scrambler archetype to this position that Kirk Cousins doesn't have. And everybody wants to say that, oh, well, he pops off the occasional 10-yard run and 20-yard run, but he's not a scrambler like Josh Dobbs is without knowing the offense, and he's going to have to improvise. I want to see what that means for Justin Jefferson trying to match Dobbs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely fair. And we've seen, like, I mean, you're kind of, it sounds like you've watched and maybe you didn't, but we have a video specifically on our YouTube channel talking, should you trade for or, you know, trade away Justin Jefferson, whatever the title of that is. Plus live reactions when Josh Dobbs is actually traded. I love it. I really don't think, at least in terms of fantasy, going from Cousins to Dobbs is that far of a step down. But, you know, we'll see. I still value Justin Jefferson as a low-end wide receiver 1 probably the rest of the way. So, again, if you can give up Puka and Pickens for that, 2 guys who at best are inconsistent, I would say, I would love that. Daniel, beats tonight. Beats Bears. So, are the Bears going to win tonight? I mean, they certainly should, given Carolina's injuries and the fact that Carolina sucks at football. Like Carolina was bad and now they don't have Brian Burns. I mean, that's tough. So I think the Bears should probably win.
There's an explosive rookie quarterback on one team, and then there's Bryce Young on the other.
Yeah, very true. Very true. We'll see what Tyson Bagent does tonight. Just learned his first name last night. Swear to God, it was Tyler. Who knew? It's kind of like I had a 5-minute sit down moment with myself today because I just found out Obi Toppin's on the Pacers, and Obi Toppin's been on my fantasy basketball team all year long. I had no idea. I thought he got traded last night, but no, he's been on that team all year. Who knew? Marcos. because of buys. I have 3 options of wide receiver. Should I risk Chase not playing Sunday or play DJ Moore today? That's interesting. So Chase held out of practice yesterday, practice on a limited basis today. My gut says he plays. I understand this. Okay, this is what do you have any flexible roster spots? Like, could you pick up somebody? Because if you could pick up Trenton Irwin, then I'm for sure risking Chase, because Trenton Irwin may end up being the wide receiver 1 then Sunday. I understand Tyler Boyd's there. Trenton Irwin would be the wide receiver 1 if Chase doesn't play, because T. Higgins is obviously out. That's what I would do. What about you?
I think I'm going to go, just for some flavor, going on the DJ Moore side. I think Cincinnati's logic is that if Jamar Chase is out, or if he gets injured and he hurts himself this week, it hurts Cincinnati more in the long run than just having him sit out and seeing if they can scrape out a win. So DJ Moore playing against a bad Carolina team, I think that's a safer floor, even if Jamar Chase is injured and playing. They're probably not going to give him the ball as much because they don't want him to get injured. 2, if he does, well, then you're SOL.
Yeah, that's true. Matter of personal preference. Marcos did say he doesn't have anybody he'd care to drop. You can certainly drop your team in here if you want us to look at it just in case. But otherwise, you got both of our opinions on that. And obviously, it's not like you're going Chase or a scrub. Like, I think DJ Moore's pretty good regardless. So if that helps you out either. Homer Simpson in the chat, in the flesh. We got Cole Kmet or Chris Godwin, half PPR. I think I would go Chris Godwin this week. Close.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think they're very close. But that's what I would do. Daniel, would I play the Bears D? Yes. Depends on over who, I suppose, but I think they're borderline top 10 this week, and I know the consensus has them at, I think, the 6th ranked defense. That's a little high for me, considering they're not good, but I certainly understand, you play Carolina, not bad. Yeet, last question. You don't need to limit yourself. You can ask as many
We
as
love
you
you,
like.
Yeet.
Should I trade Schultz for Evan Engram? I don't know how much better you get. I will say Evan Engram for sure has had an inflated value because Zay Jones has been out for a month plus. He comes back this week. But rest of season, I think I still would prefer Engram slightly. So sure. Personal preference, though. I think it's close.
Yeah, I think I keep, or I think I do trade for Evan Engram. There's been a lot of mouths to feed in that Jacksonville offense, even with Zay Jones out. And Evan Engram has still been consistently consistent. In Houston, there's a lot of mouths to feed, and everybody's trying to talk about Tank Dell, Nico Collins. One week it's saying that you should trade for Nico Collins, pick him up. The next week it's saying you should pick Tank Dell, etc. Robert Woods started the year off as like the security blanket. I think Evan Engram is a safer pick.
Fair enough. So with Higgins out, would we play Boyd? Yeah, depends on over who, but yeah, his value at least goes up a little bit.
There was a point in time when Tyler Boyd was a must pick up for fantasy purposes.
Depends on if you're listening to Trevor Land or somebody else.
Trevor's my boy.
Land.
Trevor gets it right all the time.
We'll leave it at that. Walker, Ford, Edwards, Hunt. Who would you sit? That's tough. I'm not a Walker fan this week at all. But let me look at my rankings. I have a feeling it's going to be Hunt. Who do you think, Zach?
I think I'm actually going to sit Kareem Hunt. Because this is talking about Kareem Hunt, Gus Edwards, Jerome Ford, etc. The Ravens.
Yeah.
I think I go Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, for whatever it's worth, Hunt is the lowest ranked for me. I'm still really hesitant on Kenneth Walker, but I get it. McAdoo, welcome. What's your thoughts? Who would you sit of these running backs?
I think I've made myself perfectly clear. I don't like Ford. Sit him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's very good, but he's getting more receiving work at least right now. I think the Browns kind of have to pass. Worries about Walker injury. Yeah, 100%. PPR, Ryan asks, PPR start Foreman or Hubbard tonight. I have Foreman higher by like 4 spots. I think he has higher touchdown upside. McAdoo, what's your thoughts?
I have the Panthers defense, so I was always told start the running back to the defense you have. I'm going to go Hubbard.
I mean, fair logic. I got to go Foreman, but I just want to ask this question to y'all because Frank Reich confirmed that Hubbard is going to be taking over the lead back duties, at least tonight or for the foreseeable future, if I'm not mistaken. And his stock has gone up significantly. But with Carolina offense as a whole, do you buy the stock?
I mean, Hubbard's stock to me is actually going down. Like he's been the leader by default just because Sanders has been out and Sanders is getting healthier. For my money, I think Sanders is more talented. I think it's going to get closer to a 50-50 split eventually. And I think it's trending in that direction. So, am I buying? I'm for sure not trading for Chuba Hubbard right now, I suppose. I think he's fine though. I don't dislike him.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't like how he's been taking Miles Sanders carries, but
Yeah, it'll be interesting tonight for sure. I did bet the over on Chuba Hubbard's carries though, so if you can get at least 13, that'd be super hype. That'd be great. Thoughts on Pop Douglas? Is Thomas droppable? Now,
Michael Thomas?
which Thomas?
I guess it'd be the Michael Thomas.
Oh, Michael Thomas? I mean, I'm not dropping Michael Thomas if that's the question here.
In one of my leagues, I almost did
Pop Douglas.
because it was between him and Elijah Moore, and I dropped Elijah Moore because I think I had to pick up a kicker.
I think that's fair. Love DeMario Douglas. He is clearly, so it is Michael Thomas. He is clearly the top receiver for the Patriots, wide receiver at least. He's the only wide receiver doing jack shit. I think he's super talented. I think he's relatively steady. Again, similar thing to Deontay Johnson. I don't think he has top tier, high end, like boom potential, but I think he's relatively solid for catches and yards, and similar thing to Michael Thomas, I suppose, as well. So I like them both. If I had to choose one rest of season, I'd choose Douglas, but I'm not overly heavy on one side or over the other. Espinoza,
I think I lean more towards Douglas. Michael Thomas still has to compete with Juwan Johnson, Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, Taysom Hill, Chris Olave, question mark. Whereas in New England, it's so, and I keep using this word to describe bad offenses, anemic. I mean, New England is really anemic without Kendrick Bourne. Even with Kendrick Bourne, they were anemic. Now you don't have him. It's Damari Douglas all the way. He should
Until
be a
they play the
pickup.
Buffalo defense.
True. LL Cool Guy. Should I trade DK Metcalf? If you can, I feel like you'd be trading low, but my thoughts on DK Metcalf have been pretty loud over the past several years, so I'm not a believer. So maybe I'm looking at that through bias. Espinoza, what's your thoughts on Metcalf rest of season?
Yeah, I mean, if you can trade him away for that name brand value, try to get something bigger in return, by all means, go for it. Just know that, know your league, right? Making a trade. Can you trick somebody into doing it, or do they know their stuff and they're going to try to get more out of you?
Right. McAdoo?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess if you can trade away, yes, but it all depends on what you can need for what your threshold is for who you can get back. Like, he's probably not going to get a mid-tier running back. He's probably going to have to look at like a low-tier or kind of RB2 for a lot of teams.
Yeah, certainly case by case. I know there's for sure still people who view him as like a high end RB2 or a wide receiver 2. And if that's the value you're getting for him, I think, fire away. Daniel. So back to Michael Thomas here. Thomas, Douglas, or Quentin Johnston this week. Who would you sit? So sitting 1 here, I think, is the question. And if I'm sitting 1, I think I'm sitting Michael Thomas.
Oof. I got to go Quentin Johnson. I have been riding this Quentin Johnson train high out of the year. I thought he was going to be the future in LA. They drafted him in the first round for a reason. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, injury prone. Sure enough, Michael Williams tore his ACL. Nothing against that. We just, know that he's made of glass and has a history of it. And Quentin Johnson still has yet to produce. And I'm stuck in a position where I hate the fact that I have to start him. So please do me a favor and sit Quentin Johnson. McAdoo?
I read this question wrong. I thought I said who to start, and you talk about Quentin Johnson. I was like, oh God, what? Yes, sit Quentin Johnson. I think if I'm ranking these guys, it goes to Douglas, Thomas, Johnston this week.
Johnson's not good at football. Said this during the draft. He's a big guy who plays small, doesn't get separation, doesn't win 50-50 catches. That being said, he's had some tough-ass matchups. He has an easier matchup this week. I like him. Buy low if you can. Do I like him a lot? No. But certainly better this week than any other week this season. I can guarantee it. Ralph, guy in last place, says Andrews. So the commish already told me not to even consider trading for Andrews. I managed to pick up Goff from waivers since Hurts is on bye. Can I trust him to be solid? Yeah, Goff's fine. You're good to go. But yeah, look to Hawkinson. You can do it. He's better than Andrews. Trust me. Andrews isn't that good. You're fine. Is there anyone I can pick up you think who will do good this week? It depends on size of league, who's available, what position you need. But yeah, there's for sure people that are going to do
There
good
are
this week.
streamers on the Flurry Sports website.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
There are.
It's our collective Zach mind. We're in unison.
Although the first Zach didn't say anything about it, and it's his article, so I don't know why he did.
He thought it,
That's
and
true.
we just picked it up.
Well, it depends. Like if it's a 8-team league, and it's like, yeah, I can probably pick up fucking Brandon Ayuk. You know what I mean? So like it depends. But yeah, flurrysports.org. We got streamers articles up for players who are owned in under 60% of ESPN leagues. So that's something to look at for sure. Obviously we got start 'em, sit 'em. Fully depends on the size of your league. But there's definitely going to be players that are going to be good. If we're talking about a deeper league, I would certainly be looking at, I already mentioned him once, but Trenton Irwin for the Bengals. We already have T. Higgins out. Could Jamar Chase be out? If so, Trenton Irwin's going to fucking ball like he always does when either of those two are out. So I would look at him. Chuba or Taysom Hill in the flex. I hate Taysom Hill. I'm going to go Chuba.
Yeah, Chuba, but for shits and giggles, go Taysom Hill if you want to gamble.
I'm going to Taysom Hill. You put the quarterback in the flex. It's so stupid that I believe he should not have a tight end characteristic, whatever the hell you want to call it. He should be QB only until he's proven otherwise. And so why not throw him in the flex? Because that's what he's a fucking quarterback. It's a cheat code.
Fair enough. Fantasy God in the presence of greatness. Jalen Hurts, CMC, Bijan, Aaron Jones, Jefferson, Chase, Andrews, Cup. Anything I can do. Let me know how big of a league
Who's
it is.
Copper Cup?
But obviously a solid team. Obviously you got a good team. You're fine.
I mean,
He
the game's
either-
pretty
Regardless of the size.
He either took like the first 5 picks of the fucking draft, or he's playing with people who don't know what the fuck they're doing.
12-team league. That's insane. Congrats. I don't know. If you lose, that fucking sucks. Because obviously, objectively insane team, right? The only thing I would say is I think Aaron Jones is going to be used relatively heavy the rest of the way, but I don't necessarily trust him to hold up. So maybe if he has another heavy game where he plays really well, you could look to move him. But otherwise, I mean, that he's your running back 3 anyway, so who cares? You're good. Okay. I mean, last question. I'll let you guys do this. I'm gonna dip off. If you need me, I'll be in the chat. But I need to enter some lineups and make some damn money. So see you guys later. I almost ended the show. Okay. Okay. Good luck. Have fun. I'm still here.
All right,
See
don't
you
tell me what to
later.
do. All right, here we go. Here we go, Espinosa. You ready?
Let's go.
All right, JSN got cleared. Do I go with him or Madison still?
I just got cleared very. I'm gonna go with Madison. Cam Akers is out for the season. Josh Dobbs is still relatively new to this offense. I think that they lean on Madison, and then they're going to see how they can push Dobbs to scramble and make some plays as he's learning the offense.
I'm going Madison, but I believe Josh Dobbs is still a startable quarterback this week, and I believe Josh Dobbs should be comeback player of the year. I'm saying that right now.
Oh, 100%.
The way he's played, phenomenal. I don't put away. I'm saying this as a Bills fan. Going to point to the flag again. DeMar Hamlin is not it. He's played in one game. I'll die on that hill. I don't care. All right. Did you guys get through Stardom Siddums yet?
Yeah, we did. I think a wonderful point, though, for before we get into this next question. Bruner left, but all of us Zachs, what the audience doesn't know is that we all live together. So he's actually just off screen. He's right here. And then you're actually physically to my right as well.
Yeah, I can just wave to you.
We're like the Beatles. All right, we got a question. You guys think Walker will have a strong finish to the season? Thanks. Thanks to you, Garrett. I don't think so. It's a tough injury to come back for a running back. It's an even harder thing to come back in regards to fantasy when you have your heir apparent ? In the wings waiting for you. They drafted Zach Charbonnet, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, in the wings, and I don't think they need to use up Walker if they don't have to. So at least I don't think he's going to come back out of the gates this next couple of weeks. I don't think he's going to finish strong for the season as a whole. McAdoo, what do you think?
Yeah, the good news is they don't have to rush him back because, like we said, Zach Charbonnet is right there in the waiting wings. He can start and probably fit in just well for the Seahawks. It's a hamstring, right, for Walker?
Yeah, something with the legs. Let's look it up exactly.
And
I don't want to get it wrong.
And we've also we've also said in the show that hamstring injuries are not the best to come back from for any position.
Chest injury.
Oh, chest injury. Where the hell did a hamstring win? Chest
injury
injury.
Makes sense, right? It's a running back.
Yeah.
Hamstring.
Well, again, chest injuries are a lot better than hamstring injuries. I think he'll be fine.
I'll tell you why. Because week 1 he had a groin issue. Week 9 it was a calf injury. Neither one of those affected his availability for game day, but he is now dealing with a chest injury according to CBS Sports.
But also, you have to take a look at his schedule. Let me look here. He's got Washington this week at the Rams, San Francisco, at Dallas, at San Francisco, Philly, Tennessee, and then Pittsburgh, week 17. And 5 weeks in a row he plays against a 21st or worse defense for running back points.
Yeah, exactly that. And then if you're Seattle, you don't have to rush him back into the lineup. You don't have to rush him into a 20, 25 carry workload.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think he finishes strong.
No, I mean, I think he can because this is a guy, he looked phenomenal, marvelous, whatever the hell adjective you want to use. Last year, he had a good workload this year, even taking away Zach Charbonnet's carries. But I still think he'll be fine. Probably not to what we expect fine, but fine enough.
Alrighty, guys, we're going to be going up until about 7:15 right before kickoff. So please make sure to get those questions in before we head out. We just got a new one. Javonte Williams or Rondell Stevenson?
Ramondre
Stevenson. That's my bad, Ramondre. That's on me. Stevenson, full PPR this week.
I'm going to Ramondre. I don't care. I don't believe. Granted, Javonte Williams playing against the Bills defense, and they're hit or miss. But I still got to go with probably the one bright spot of the Patriots offense, besides Demario Douglas, in Ramondre Stevenson.
I got to go with Williams it's like you said, the Bills are so hit and miss. I think Denver is starting to correct themselves. I think it's a match made in heaven. So I go with Williams.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, until we get some more questions, I want to talk about an article that I wrote this week on Flurry Sports called Fantasy Football Surprises This Year. With that being said, my top 3 biggest surprises, the number 3 spot, the Detroit Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs versus David Montgomery. McAdoo, any thoughts on this?
About the rivalry there that's starting to evolve in the running back room of Detroit. I mean, I thought that Jahmyr Gibbs, you draft him, you trade up to draft him, and you'd expect him to be the top guy there, but he hasn't been. You look at Bijan.
Would you agree that this is one of the top 3 fantasy surprises this year?
You could argue it. I'm sure there's other ones, but yeah, from off the top of my head, yeah, we can say that.
So then what do you think is going to happen with David Montgomery returning to the lineup?
We're probably going to see split carries. I don't believe that you're going to see one true top back there because they want to get them both in there, want to keep them both healthy for the playoffs.
Interesting. And I think with this running back fantasy ecosystem as a whole, and I have this tweet linked in this article, once again, the article on Flurry Sports, biggest fantasy surprises in fantasy football this year. Running back 3s are outscoring pre-drafted RB2s this year. So not only is there a shortage of good quality running backs like there used to be, but lower quality in regards to ADP, their average draft position, are outperforming their higher cohorts. And I don't think that's something that it was creeping up on all of us, but I think it really hit hard this year.
Oh yeah. I don't like, we always talk about that one mysterious, it's usually one mysterious guy that's going to win you your league and in waiver wire, but here it is. We have more than usual. You have like 10 guys out there that's right there and playing better than what we've, like you said, our RB2s, pre-draft RB2s.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, my number 2 fantasy football surprise, the Las Vegas Raiders saga. Coming into this year, there was hype all around Sin City. They had Devontae Adams coming back. Josh Jacobs had a little bit of a question mark. We had the holdout that they eventually then decided to give him the payout. And we also brought in Jimmy G. So there was hope in Josh McDaniel's sophomore season. And then flash forward to this week, they are 29th in total points and dead last in rushing yards per game, especially with your bona fide stars like Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. Should be no excuses for this lack of offensive potency. Any thoughts?
Well, I'm going to bring up this chat that just came in, and I'm going to say, yeah, O'Connell will not be better for Adams than Garoppolo. I mean, it's like last year. Who started at the end of the year for the Raiders? I don't remember who it was. It irritated me last week, and I couldn't think of it.
Oh, man, I can't even remember. It was some third stringer. For Vegas?
Yes. He came in to play against the Niners, and he did amazing.
Nick Mullins? Brian Hoyer? If Nick Mullins was even there? I just feel like Nick Mullins
I'll look this up. You answer this question.
Well, Will O'Connell be better for Adams than Garoppolo? Jared Stidham. Oh, absolutely right. God, that's a name that goes in and out. No, I don't think anybody is going to be better for Devontae Adams. Actually, how do I phrase this? Devontae Adams, we talked about it earlier in the show. Devontae Adams cannot throw himself the ball. Some of that comes with scheming. There's a lot that needs to go right for Devontae Adams. I don't think that Will O'Connell is that person to make things go slightly better for Devontae Adams.
Yeah, and it pains me to say this because you called this back 4 or 5 weeks ago with you, me, and Bruner in the chat saying how Devontae Adams is going to want out, and sure enough, points are going drastically down. There were trade talks with him, but the Raiders said no. I mean, and now reading the stardom situm that Bruner put in there.
It's funny because I brought that up and earlier on the stream, and Bruner said no, he doesn't agree, but he agrees that I sold him high at the right time. So I got a little bit of credit, not all of it, but a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm rolling with him until the end of the year. I'm not sitting him. I mean, you got to do what you can do, and I think him and Jamar Chase hopefully can put up some points. Here we go. We got another chat in here. A defense question. We don't get a lot of these. Saints, Bears, Raiders.
I got to go with the Bears purely based on the fact that they're playing Carolina, the worst team in the NFL right now.
The Arizona Cardinals exist.
Carolina's won more games than Arizona.
They're both one. They both have one win. Arizona has the first draft pick right now because they are 1-8 to Carolina's 1-7.
I think Carolina is eventually gonna take that one spot. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, we'll see how Kyler comes back. Let's see. So the Saints play the Vikings. I would not start them. The Bears are playing the Panthers, and the Raiders are playing the Jets. I have the Raiders defense in one of my lineups over the Niners defense this week. So I'm going to go the Las Vegas Raiders defense, hoping that they do the same thing that they did last week against the Giants.
Yeah, they're riding high at the moment.
And I think Antonio Pierce also, he's going to bring a different culture to the team than Screamy McScreamerson. But when you talk about the Patriots and that piece of shit known as Josh McDaniels, who hopefully stays the fuck away from every football team, but he's not. All right, would you trade Aaron Jones for Breece Hall in a PPR? Yes.
Absolutely.
If you are getting Breece Hall, you take that trade.
Yes. I've never agreed with you more. Yes. I think it's really funny that the Jets have been playing a lot better ever since the videos started to come out of Aaron Rodgers getting better each week with his.
They didn't play well last week. They played like dog shit.
Outside of last week is what I'm trying to say. Is that it's almost as if they're starting to see the hype and they're like, oh shit, we got to play good again. We can make the playoffs if Aaron comes back. I just think that's so funny. I feel so bad for Zach Wilson. Poor guy, man. He's going through it. We got another question here, though. Should I still start Jamar Chase? I'm going to assume that's Jamar Chase. And this question was asked earlier in the show. I'm actually going to say no. If he does play even with an injury, I don't think the Bengals are going to give him his usual workload. I don't think they can afford to risk it. With that being said, can you afford to start somebody else over Jamar Chase, even with a limited capacity? Drop your team more, Eagle. Help give us some insight to your decision.
So he's got a back bruise. I mean, he look. Bruises are always difficult to, just like every other injury. So I don't know why I'm saying this, but like they're difficult for a timetable. Like I feel like a bruise, you should be fine, but at the same time, he's the only one who knows. Like I said, I'm rolling with Chase and Adams until they're done for the year. It is what it is. You just gotta hope that your top two wide receivers are still there.
Oof. Noah Brown on the bench to start over Jamar Chase. How do you feel about this, McAdoo?
Who do the Texans play? So the questionable tag, obviously, they're playing against each other. So this is perfect. If Chase is out, which we don't know, he had limited practice yesterday. They'll have practice tomorrow before he gets his final tag before Sunday, and then you'll have 90 minutes before kickoff to take him out if he's out. So I mean, I'm still rolling with Chase. I don't. Noah Brown had one good game so far. We'll see how it rolls into this week.
I'm always going to go with the side of caution. That's my logic with Jamar Chase. I think you go Noah Brown. You do what you want with that War Eagle.
Full PPR, start to Foreman, Addison, Kincaid.
Ooh, I'm going Foreman. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I was getting him confused with Freeman. I'm going with Kincaid and Addison.
Kincaid, Addison.
There we go. 2 for 2 in agreement.
You have Puka and Devontae Smith on a bye. Yeah, that's always what sucks. Like last week, I have Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and who's the tight end? Not Etienne. What the hell? Ingram. And they were like, you're kind of stuck because when you have one team on your fancy team, and so you just got to roll what you have. And Noah Brown might be your only option if Chase is out.
It's a bad week for fantasy football. There's a lot of good teams on bye this week, a lot of injuries around the NFL. This is where champions are made. Do you want to take the gamble or do you want to play it safe? It's up to you. All righty, going back to my article then, since we don't have any other questions in the chat. Going back to the biggest surprises in fantasy football this year, my number one fantasy football surprise was the shortage of viable running backs in fantasy football. And we had kind of talked about this earlier. Injuries, contract situations, and offensive schemes have put a chokehold on the fantasy running back ecosystem. With that being said, what do you think?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, unfortunately. Like I thought there'd be more viable running backs than what there are. And you figure with Bijan being a top running back going so well for so long, and then all of a sudden we're not going to utilize. Arthur Smith has just gone brain dead, not utilizing his top weapon probably on offense, and just absolutely has been shitting the bed for the last couple of weeks.
I saw a tweet that was like, I know that Arthur Smith comes from money because he coaches like he doesn't have to worry about job security.
I hate Arthur Smith, and I'm not like he's so stupid.
Yeah, as do a lot of fantasy owners at the moment. We got some more questions in the chat. Thank you guys. Drop Roshan and PPR for Gibson. Antonio Gibson? Question mark.
That's what my guess is, and I would.
I don't know. Gibson is clearly the number 2 back in that Washington backfield. Brian Robinson, I think, has.
Yeah, Brian Robinson's one, but where's Roshan? I still think he's behind the Foreman. He's behind. I think he's behind another back too in Chicago.
But is it that much better over Gibson's situation with Robinson?
Taking an RB2 over RB3, RB2.5 at the best.
I think it just depends on the week. I don't think you're going to gain that much value by dropping him. I think they're pretty much the same.
All right. Any thoughts on the Dolphins' backfield? It looks like when A-Chain gets back.
That's a great question. I think Mostert started the season. A-Chain went out. I think Mostert starts until he gets hurt. With that being said, that doesn't mean that A-Chain doesn't come back and break off those 40, 60-yard touchdowns again. I don't know if they rush him back in to increase his workload and taking away from Mostert.
So I think he's got an extra week because this fourth game was going to be last week, and that would have been 4 weeks. This week's their bye. next week he can be back, and I think he will be back because he, from what the sounds of it, when he first got injured, it was only like a 4-week injury, so he should be back. I think they're gonna roll with the hot-handed Mostert, and A-Chain's got to earn his carries back like he did early in the season and prove himself again. Which it sucks because I have A-Chain, but I still think I don't think he's gonna be the top dog back in Miami.
Sorry, Garrett. It's the unsatisfying answer. Kincaid or Kmet? Kincaid.
Easy answer.
Yeah.
Kincaid. All right. This is a pretty hot take. Folks who just picked up James Conner this week just won their fantasy season. Do you want to start this off or do you want me to start it off?
Oh, boy. James Conner was the best you could do to pick up. That's what I'm asking to this grandmother, this elderly
Hi,
citizen.
Grandma.
I don't know. I want to know who else was available that James Conner was the winning decision for you.
Yeah, I don't think James Conner is that guy that's going to win you a fantasy league. He's going to help. He's going to be that guy who helps, but I don't think with the way that the Cardinals are run right now, nothing against Jonathan Gannon because he walked into a shit show in Arizona. But,
well, and what about the return of Kyler Murray? Does that help James Conner in any way, shape, or form?
We'll see, because if it's regular Kyler Murray, yes, I think it will be, because that offense is going to be the offense is going to have more possession time, going to have more plays to be out there, which could help Conner. But if it's Kyler Murray that he has no idea what the fuck he's doing back there right now because he hasn't played in almost a year, then who knows?
Yeah, I don't think he's winning you your fantasy season. Anyway, then. Oh, did you have any more thoughts before we moved on to the next question?
No, I'm just moving on.
All right, trade away CMC for Nico Levis, Sam Howell, and Najee. 2 QB dynasty. My other QB is Tannehill, and I'm not competing. Thoughts PPR.
Before you go, I hate answering dynasty trade questions because I'm the worst one when it comes to it.
So you're trading away Sam Howell and Levis.
He's trading away McCaffrey.
Oh, trading away McCaffrey for Nico Collins, Will Levis, Sam Howell, and Najee Harris in Pittsburgh for this 2-quarterback dynasty league, and your other quarterback is Tannehill. But just because you're not competing this year doesn't mean that you have to shoot yourself for years future. Don't give away Christian McCaffrey for Will Levis and Sam Howell, which are the best commodity in this trade of what you would be receiving. Najee Harris is not going to replace Christian McCaffrey. Nico Collins probably realistically isn't going to replace anybody on your starting wide receiver core either. I say no. This year might be lost for you, but don't throw away future years just because this year is bad.
Yeah, this is tough. I have to agree with you because if it's a dynasty, you're going to keep McCaffrey. But who knows if Nico Collins is going to be there long term for the Texans?
Yeah.
That's okay. I want to make sure I have the right guy. Sam Howell, he's looked well, but Washington, I thought Taylor Heineke was going to be the guy in Washington. You see how well that went. And then Levis, who knows what that?
Yeah, I mean it's been 2 weeks of Levis.
Yeah,
don't do a dynasty trade off of 2 weeks.
And then Najee Harris, at one point in the season we were looking at him splitting carries with Jaylen Warren. So he's not going to be that every down back like CMC. And we have there we go. Don't do that trade.
Yeah, the fact that this is dynasty changes that trade significantly. If you're not competing and it's a full PPR league and you're just trying to squeak into the playoffs, salvage the season, I mean, if you want to, then go for it. But the fact that it's Dynasty changes it up completely.
Yeah, there's Caleb Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix. There's another quarterback besides Shedeur Sanders that I'm forgetting.
Not that I can remember off the top of my head.
The Quinn Ewers?
Oh, out of Texas?
Yes, Quinn Ewers.
I don't know if he's draft eligible, but I mean, either way, it still makes it more intriguing.
Yeah, so there's, like I said, if you're down there, you're probably going to have one of those. You're not competing, so which means your record's not that good, so you're going to have a low or a very high draft pick. So the chances of you getting one of those guys is very likely.
Welcome to Dynasty football, my friend.
We're learning. It only took me 3 years of the Flurry Sports Dynasty League to learn.
Yeah, which, by the way, I'm doing quite well in. We had a fun stream off of. I was able to poach everybody else's team. I think, and Bruder can confirm this in the chat, I think they just felt bad for me that my first year in the other league I did so bad that they were like, all right, let's let him steal the rest of ours.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but yeah, he screwed me over. So, congratulations. Now I'm out of the playoffs because you had to take my guys.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, you're top of the leaderboard. I'm 5th.
Yeah, we'll see if I win. It'll be my luck that I somehow fumble that bag.
I hope you do. I hope you do. I need to get back in.
Ooh, pressure's on. You saw it here first, folks.
Yeah, and I would do well. While we need to wait for chats, I will say this: I do like the addition of the median score for wins. I think that was a good addition, even though it might cost me in the end. Actually, I think it's helped me more than it's hurt. But
I think it would be really fun if we did like some sort of fantasy football punishment as a website for our Dynasty League or something for the winner.
What do you mean by a fantasy football punishment website?
Oh man! So this is another shameless plug. A couple weeks ago, I wrote an article for Flurry Sports called Worst Fantasy Football Punishments that you can implement in your leagues. I want to see if we can do that this year for our Dynasty loser, if they agree to it.
I think it's too late, but I thought I knew you were going to go with which punishment when you said website.
Ooh, maybe the winner. Maybe the winner picks the punishment for the loser from the article. Question mark. We'll talk about it. We'll see. Let us know in the chat. Let us know at Flurry Sports if you would love to see that.
I think
invested now in our Dynasty League.
It would be great to do an Impractical Jokers style punishment, but at the same time, we're all over. I think there's 2 of us in Buffalo. There's 1 in Wisconsin. 1's driving a fucking truck around the United States. So
it's a small world. I would genuinely fly out to any city if the punishment was heckling somebody at a stand-up comedy night or open mic night. I would heckle the shit out of somebody. God, I would do that for free. I would go in debt. I would buy my own plane ticket, buy my own hotel just to do that. God, that seems so fun.
This is starting to sound like a certain YouTube show I watch with 5 YouTubers.
Hell yeah. We got to talk about that, Bruder. Let us know in the chat if you guys would love to see that. We'll see what we can do. Or some sort of punishment.
Yeah. There's something else we're missing. We got to buy time here because no one. If anyone has any questions, we'll shut this. We'll answer until 8:15. But so get your questions in for now. But Espinosa, anything else you got to add?
Oh, I think Bruner's adding it. I think having the person do a 15-minute at an open mic would be better. Yes, and then I want to be there to heckle them as they're doing the open mic. God, I think that'd be so funny. Do you have any favorite fantasy football punishments, McAdoo, that you've seen?
Not really. I try because I'm afraid of doing them. I try to steer clear of them. Even though I'm not that bad at fantasy football, but if your first round draft pick gets hurt, you're fucked.
So you're saying it's not fair?
It's not that it's not fair. I would love to do it in my league, but again, not everyone knows knows each other in my league. So, but I'm just always weary that it's going to be me finishing last.
Well, then let me answer your question with a question. This is something that they were talking about on last week or this week. I'm starting to get my time as a circle. Anyway, the other fellas, Luke, Trevor, and Bruner, were discussing, is water wet? How do you feel about this, McAdoo?
I feel like water is wet, but at the same time,
Thank you.
someone said something that it's not, and I don't remember. Like, it was a whole fucking like Twitter post or whatever saying that it wasn't wet because of this property, but like, water's a liquid. It's wet.
Yeah, Trevor, and Luke were going. They thought so highly of themselves because they agreed for once on something that just because they did, their answer was correct. Water is wet. Clip it. It is. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm glad we settled that. All of the Zacks are in unison. As we
And
should
Zach
be.
is the right name, so
As it is.
I think I've done a lot of hand motion so far today, but
Yeah, we gotta make up for stuff. But I'm saying that you are wet when you're underwater because water is the agent that makes you wet.
I don't. What the hell is going on?
We got one last question. Oh man, Lolly coming in for the save. James Cook for David Montgomery. I am steering clear of this trade. Oh wait, no. You're trading for Montgomery? Then yes. If you're trading for James Cook, dear God, I need to talk to you. McAdoo?
I want to say steer clear no matter what, but James Cook has had flashes. Now the right flashes he has taken. I mean, it's not his fault that he hasn't had the flashes lately. I don't know why they didn't come out right the first time. It's not his fault. It's all on one Ken Dorsey. So, I mean, if you want to make the trade, go ahead. I have no lean either way for James Cook or David Montgomery here.
I think it's a very clear and obvious trading for David Montgomery. All right, they have Josh Jacobs and James Cook. I have A-Chain also. I think you're going to give yourself value by trading away James Cook for David Montgomery. I understand the concern that David Montgomery is coming back from injury as well as playing with Jahmyr Gibbs. Even with Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery was clearly the better runner, clearly the better goal line back, and the bigger back between the two. And because of that, he's a better chance to give you 6 points than James Cook, who has to compete with the rest of the Buffalo backfield. They signed Leonard Fournette for a reason. They wanted that big body near the goal line because Josh Allen just can't take the abuse anymore. They're trying to save him for the playoffs. Thoughts?
No comment on Josh Allen on the Josh Allen take there, because I think you're right. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Montgomery is going to be the vulture back for Detroit. He's going to be the one to take away the touchdown, the goal line carries. As for James Cook, who's going to get him there, but opposite, because it'll be Latavius Murray and Leonard Fournette taking away the carries from James Cook.
Yeah, I think you're doing a good thing, Lolly. Any final questions? We got just a couple of minutes before we head off for Thursday Night Football. Say that he's a worse version of Gibbs per se in regards to their running back style, but I do think he is a worse pick than Jahmyr Gibbs.
I'm hurt.
Sorry, you got your resident Bills fan over here, who also just so happens to be wearing the Carolina jersey tonight. But your allegiance is to Buffalo, right?
Yeah, I mean, hence the Go Bills and the Buffalo Bulls flag. I have some other Bill stuff here, but Carolina's playing tonight. I thought I'd show some love to the Thursday night game. And I'll try to do that going forward because I know I have most of the league back there. So
Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of your jersey collection. We're fans of our teams, but more importantly, we're fans of the NFL. Hence why we love fantasy football so much.
nail on the head.
Yeah.
That's the sad part. Yes.
Yeah,
And
Cook just can't get into the end zone, man.
And it's been the Buffalo Bills pretty much since.
Well, let me answer your question with a question. Was James Cook at least ever that guy, even before Buffalo? I mean, like, if where did he go? Did he go to Florida? Georgia? Yeah, his brother went to Florida State.
Yes.
He benefited from Georgia. That was they were two back-to-back years of their college football championship. I don't know if he was there when they won their championship.
I think he was he was there for the first one, not the second one.
My point being is that they were just a perennial powerhouse. Made him look a lot better than he was, and then he goes to a Buffalo team that is already kind of stacked. I know that we say that they're pretenders instead of contenders, but all things considered, they are a stacked team. They have the pieces. They just don't know how to put it together, and they have the pieces in the backfield.
All right, last question.
Favorite pizza? Pineapple.
I think he's talking about pizza place, but okay, pepperoni.
Yeah, exactly. James Cook always benefited from the system that he's in.
Yeah, and Zamir White is RB3 in Vegas, so tells you all you need to know.
Point proven.
Okay, he meant both. So I'm going pepperoni. I'm going to go Pizza Hut.
Ooh, I'm actually going to go Mellow Mushroom. They're a local chain in Texas.
More power to you. All right, that will do it for us. I don't know how Bruner started it, but I always end it like this. Folks, thank you for tuning in. Have a good night.